What's going on, guys? What's up? We're going to do a quick live stream. I wanted to talk a little bit about soil and how I'm amending the soils in my gardens. Not so much the soils I use in my pots and my raised beds, but the ground itself and how I had to build this soil up for 10 years or more. And why I get the amazing growth I get, because it took many years for me to get the soil where it is. It's very hard to get the soil to where it is for me now, the way it is for me now. It's very hard to get it to that state in a short period of time. It's not easy because it takes years to break down and so on. Hold on here a second here. Just starting up the live stream. I cannot read comments because I can't see it. And I can't, unfortunately. I can see if you made a comment. There's no way for me to read it. My vision's very, very bad and it's not getting better. So I either have to go for LASIK surgery or I'll have to get maybe contacts. I'm not sure. I got bad vision. Believe me, it's getting worse with age. So, anyways, I'm looking for my shovel. Where's my freaking shovel, man? Oh, this sucks. I have a shovel, and I don't want to stick my hands into the ground because. Oh, here it is. I got my trusty shovel. So what I want to talk to you about is, I'm going to turn you around now for a bit here and I'll just give you a quick explanation. Ain't going to be too long. Hopefully I don't mess this up because I'm guessing at what I have to press here. Yeah, I did it. Okay, good. All right, so you can see the way these plants are, and they're doing really good. They're a little small for this time of year. Usually these plants are roughly about 3 feet tall. And they're usually a lot taller, but I got out really late this year because of the real cold springs we were getting. We were getting springs that were the temperatures were still dropping down to the upper 30s, mid 40s. As a result of that, you really don't want to transplant in those kind of temperatures. That's a really bad idea, especially with peppers. So I wanted to wait until we were done with the 40s, and so we were at least in the 50s, and I transplanted, but they're still kind of stunty, and that's because of the weather has been extraordinarily cold, probably because of all the forest fires. Here's the sky. You can see it's pretty good. It looks clear, but with all that smoke in a way, it's in hindering the full spectrum of light, and that does make a difference with your plants. So, and well, what I'm trying to get at is, generally you can see how healthy the plants are. They're virtually disease-free. There's no insects. They grow to their full length, and I don't do anything much with them. This black weed tarp that I put down just stays there year in and year out, and I plant in the same hole, so I'm not even tilling the soil anymore. I'm digging down and I'm moving the dirt around it, but I'm not exactly tilling it anymore, which every so many years I do got to rip all of this landscape fabric up and then till it. So you do have to do that from time to time, but it's been at least 5 years, and I've been planting in this stuff in the same hole for 5 years, and the plants are still growing absolutely gorgeous. I do give them a little fertilizer, but one of the reasons why they're doing good is because what I did with the soil in this ground. So what you don't know is that this soil that's in the ground now, that I'm showing you my plants and all the weed barriers down. You can't see it, but I'll show you back there. What you don't know is I've been building this soil up for probably the better part of 10 plus years, maybe probably around 15 years. And before that, my neighbor said to me, I told her my plants ain't growing that good. What am I doing wrong? And she goes, have you been amending your soil? And when she said that, a light bulb went off. It was like, oh yeah, I could amend the soil out here. I didn't realize I needed to do that. And then so I started adding compost to the soil and turning it into the soil by hand. Well, at first with a tiller. Then I was just doing where you see the plants are. So I don't need to till all this because I'm only going to flatten it out. I just tilled everything over in that row, all the way across the fence, and then here, and then this stuff, because I'm just going to press it down and walk on it again. So we tilled all of that for years. And we just worked in all the old potting soil from all those years of potting soil. Just tons and tons of it. You see it's like mounds. See how high those mounds are? That's all potting soil that's been mixed in it for many, many, many years. And what eventually happens is the microbiome in the soil becomes so strong. That's between the fungi and the bacterias and all that stuff, the insects that live in there. And it's become so, biologically active. I don't even need to till the soil anymore. And I get absolutely beautiful growth. Again, they're a little on a smaller side than they normally are, but that's my fault because I got out late, because we're getting 40-degree nights in spring, which we're not supposed to. I'd never actually seen that before. But yeah, it's going down, and it stunts the plant for a few days every time it does that. So you lose growth. And so I'm losing days every time it does that. But I want to show you the soil what it looks like after 10, 20 years of mixing, just mixing in compost. And I also do, I've also made soil directly from wood chips, for example. I've had piles and piles and piles of wood chips delivered to me. I'm talking massive piles, 10, 15 feet, 20 foot tall, and just sit there and let it compost itself down until it started turning into like a good mulch. And I also mixed that into here. I've mixed so much stuff into the soil, it's insane. That includes the rock dust and all the other stuff that I was making from my pots. I don't even need to do that anymore because this soil is so rich, nutrient rich. My plants do absolutely phenomenal in here. But I wanted to show you the soil. It's very hard for me to see. Now, this is years. Now, this is like literally almost like solid compost, but there is dirt in it. That's not what I want to show you. I want to kind of show you, I want to dig back a little bit here so I could get some of the dirt itself out, because eventually all this organic matter, this is going to completely break down, and it's just going to turn into a color, and it's not even going to be a material anymore. It'll be so fine, a particle, you'll just see dirt. But the dirt's going to be a different shade of color, and that's what I'm trying to point out to you. So let me just give a scoop here. Okay, so we're getting to the dirt now. Now, this may not have been tilled for a while. I don't know why. Look at all this. Haven't put any compost in this thing in a while. See how far down I'm going? I'm going at least a foot into the ground with one hand. I'm going a foot into the ground with one hand with this shovel. This is a big shovel. And I'm going there with one, and I'm not even trying. The soil is so loose from all the years of putting this organic material into the soil that it never stiffens up again. An example of that would be, can't really do it because this is all fresh material in here. I'm trying to show you an example of an area that I don't really turn as much. Maybe over here, for example. Okay, so here's a good example. So you see this dirt, this is dirt here. So I don't really do nothing here. I just leave it like that, let the leaves sit there, keeps the weeds down. But you can see this is dirt now. Look at the color of this dirt. This has also been mixed for years. Look at this. You see this? This is what it looks like. This took 20 years to get this dirt to this color. There's so much organic matter in this soil. You can literally grow anything in here and it'll do absolutely phenomenal, disease-free and insect-free. This is like a sacred ground at this point. It's been tilled and turned with all of this stuff in here for so many years that if I ever had to sell this house, I would probably hire a machine to literally dig this soil out of here and take it away in trucks, because it took me so many years to create this. And this soil is so biologically active, it's so good. Even plants that are dying and sickly, when you plant them in the soil, they come back miraculously. And this is an area that I don't even do much, but there's so much organic material in there. That's what it looks like now. Now, let me quickly show you what it used to look like. Take you for a little walk around the old farm. I'll just grab an area of my yard. So this is kind of like, for example, this is like pretty much raw ground. It's been, I let a lot of my leaves and stuff fall back here and self-compost and everything. But this is kind of what the soil used to look like. Just to give you an idea. Now, to you, it may not look that different, and believe it or not, this is actually a bad example because there's a lot of organic material in here. I used to dump my soil over here originally years ago, and I also used to dump all my leaves in the back here, and I'd let it pile up and compost back because it's not in any way in anything. So this is actually a bad example, but it is lighter in color, and you can look at the texture. Look how hard it is. I have to kind of squeeze it to break it. It's still kind of clayish. That's not the same thing I just showed you over there. That stuff will never do this again. This stuff is, it's hard still, and your plants kind of don't want to grow through this. It's very slow. That soil there is perfectly loose. The plants their little roots can go right through that and just split that up like it's splitting up a mountain. Really, I'll try to show you somewhere else. Like, for example, this is a good area, like here. You see, this is like the virgin earth before adding, compost and everything to it. So this is like virgin earth. I'll show you where my tomato plants, and I'll explain that side to you in a minute. This side was done, this side of the garden here was done first. And then I added the tomato side over there because I needed, more room for the tomatoes. And I'm probably going to extend it again. And I'm going to add either another section for peppers or another section for tomatoes. But I'm starting to get into the darker, there's more shade because of all the freaking trees, right? So I gotta extend it out a little bit more. And then I don't know what I'm going to put in there. So I might turn these into all peppers. But this garden was made first, and then I added that on. But when I added that on, I did something different, and I'll explain that to you. But this is generally what the earth looks like here. This is the kind of dirt I have before you really do any amending. Now, we have really good soil here. And you can see it's got a nice, decent color brown to it. But this brown is actually even browner than the dirt once you get over there by the grass. That stuff's like orange, red clay soil. This is actually a little darker. And that's probably because I have all of these weeds I let grow in year and year, and they just, they grow and they die and they grow and they die. Eventually, that adds organic matter to the soil, and it starts to darken. But it's, if you look at it, what did I do? Sorry about that. Still, if you look at it, it's still hard. It's still clay. It's impacted. So that's not the same thing as this. Look at this. Look, I just have to touch it with my finger, and the whole thing's, this will never turn into what I just showed you. And like I told you, this is 10 to 20 years worth of adding compost and used potting soil to the soil in my ground, and then tilling it in, and I'll show you that. You can see here where my plants are, and then where my feet are, right? So this area I don't need to till, because it's only going to compress again, but I till everything around the edges plus the rows. So I till up these rows from time to time, and I haven't did these in a while because the soil is just so freaking good. I don't need to even till it. I stick my shovel in there with one hand. I can sink a shovel into the ground 2 feet into the ground, and I got good, well-mixed soil. So that's what I'm saying. It took many, many years to get to that, and it's not impacting. Now let me just show you the other side, and I'll try to take some comments or questions. And then that way, you can understand what I'm talking about. This is what I'm telling you right now is very important. This is years and years and years of gardening, that this little tiny thing that I'm telling you will make an absolutely enormous difference. So now this soil here, okay, so let me explain to you what this is. Now this is a little different from that side. They're both basically had organic matter mixed in them. But this soil over here, what this was like the dirt in my yard. It was just regular dirt. So I came in here, I tilled it up, I got it all butchered up, and then I called a landscape company to drop off 2 or 3 truckloads of mulch. I don't remember what kind of mulch it was. I don't remember if it was mushroom mulch. It wasn't mushroom mulch. It was a mulch. It was an organic tree, I guess you would say, a stick mulch or like a wood chip mulch, something to that effect. It was that kind of mulch. And so I ordered 2 or 3 truckloads of that. So basically, the ground was about 2 feet higher than what you see right now with mulch. It was literally mulch, 2 feet high. So the first year I planted directly into the mulch, it did pretty good. I was all right with that. But by the end of the first year, going into the second year, that mulch was basically went from 2 feet to like 6 inches. It was basically almost completely gone. All the biology in this ground was so hungry that it literally dissolved 2 feet worth of compost. I'm talking truckloads, guys. And I'm telling you that from like this entire garden. I filled this thing up 2 feet thick all the way around with fresh compost delivered to me in truckloads, and I spread it out and I planted it my first year. By the time my second year came, there was only about 6 inches left. And then I took that and now the ground was soft enough below it. Because of that reason, it softened up the soil. Now I could till it with my hand shovel, and I tilled all of this by hand, everything, even where you're walking now. Everything got turned at least once or twice with the shovel. And I broke that up and put that into the soil, and this is the results of what you're looking at now. That was a lot of money to do that. That cost me like $2,500 to bring that much soil in, and it was a high grade soil. This wasn't junky, soil. These people have a great reputation of getting good quality soil, because you got to be careful where you get your soils, because some of these people they'll put hickory in there, or they'll put black walnut, and those trees specifically have a compound in them. I believe it's referred to as lignins. And these lignins, if they get in your soil, they can stunt your plant. You can have really bad growing experiences with it. So when you're getting compost from like a nursery or something, you want to make sure that it's a quality compost. And they should know that. Cherry trees, hickories, black walnut, for example, are very high in lignins, and these are the things that cause your plants to stunt and die. So you don't want that in your soil. You need a good quality. This is a good quality. I paid a lot for it, and they knew about it, and this is why I paid for it. But you can see, look at this gloominess, the beautifulness of the soil. But look look what I had to do to get it into this state that you're seeing now. And it took about, I'd say it took around 4 to 5 years to get to what you see here. This is completely different from when I first ordered it, and put this in. This is what you're looking at is the final end stage of the product. I could just sink my hands right into it. It's so soft. But you're talking 2 feet worth of solid, beautiful compost went into here. I mean, if you don't got that kind of money, the best way to do it is what I'm saying is the best way to do it is like that side. All these years, bring you back out of here. I love this, all this weed barrier. I love it because it keeps the weeds down. It's messy looking. I don't like the way it looks, but it keeps those weeds down. See, all these years of, you see, I can hear. Can you see all the pots? You see all these pots in here? All of that. At some point, when these plants die, that soil's got to go somewhere. So I take that soil, once they die, and I pile it up, usually out here, like that. This will become a really big pile. And then I let it steep for about a year. And then from there, I take that soil, just to make sure if there's any diseases in it. Usually about a year is pretty good for, if you had some kind of blight issue or fusarium or something like that. You want that to sit for a year, and then take that soil, and then after it's been there, turn it a couple times, and then take that and then add it to your garden. And you're going to get like unbelievable results when you do that. And I've had years where these plants were literally probably 5 to 6 feet tall. It put so much energy into the vegetative growth that I suffered in the end, because I couldn't get all of the fruit off the plant early enough, because our seasons are short. So I don't want that really anymore. It's actually better that I plant later, because these plants will start fruiting small, and I will get a more condensed harvest, especially if I prune them. But when you let them grow full strength, it puts all its energy into making the plant, and that plant can go to 5 or 6 feet tall. And my problem is my seasons are too short here. But that soil will allow those plants to literally grow like that. And then I always feed that soil with new stuff. And then like every 5, 6 years, I'll peel back the weed barrier. I'll peel that back, and I'll just take, my shovel, and I'll go around all of those mounds. I'll flip, turn, dig. I'll go down like maybe 30 inches, maybe not quite 3 feet, but I definitely go down about 2 feet because it's so soft I could sink a shovel in there. But I like to add some wood ash to it and some other stuff, and then turn that in there. So like every 5 years I can do that. But you can see that soil so rich, I don't even need to do that anymore. I haven't turned that soil in probably about 4 or 5 years. It's been sitting that way for many years now. And at some point I got to get in there and do it. But that's what I do. That's how I get my garden soil to reach a premium that you can't just buy it. It takes years to build this kind of soil. I've suggested in the past. I says if you really want to get a real good topsoil, if you know of a forest that not been turned over with what do you call those, bulldozers and everything like that, you can find a decent forest. You can get yourself a couple starter buckets of that forest soil and get about 4 or 5 gallon buckets of it, and then make a pile of it, and then start mixing that into your old compost. Just keep turning that stuff into it. All that biology in that old ancient forest soil will go into the new stuff. It'll revitalize all your old soil, and you could either use that in your garden, or you can use it like me. I oftentimes also use that to mix back into my pots as well when I'm making soil. But that's what I just told you here, though. This is absolutely imperative if you're going to grow this way. Now, a lot of people these days, they're kind of moving away from this, and everybody's kind of going into they're all going into these grow bags, which I'm also a real big fan of, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But they're doing their gardens now where they just basically, everybody's just flattening out a piece of ground, and they're putting down weed barrier, and then they're just taking these grow bags, which they're using much bigger ones than I am. So they're using like maybe 20 gallon or 25 gallon. That's only about a 5 or a 7 gallon. They're using like 25 gallon, and they're planting each plant in there. You can do that. It's more controllable. It's definitely, it's going to cost you a little bit more, believe it or not, to do things that way in the long run, in my opinion. But you get a beautiful product in the end. So I'm not against it. And in fact, I do it myself. But growing in the ground, you don't need to do that if you do what I told you to do, because this soil is so biologically rich. It's going to do better than any kind of real hand soils that you're going to make and put in these bags. I make good compost. I make stuff I make my own stuff, my own wood mulches and stuff like that. I do all of that, and I get the biology in there. That's why my potted plants always do really well. But when it comes to the soil out here, you can't beat this, guys. You're never going to beat growing in the ground as opposed to pots. There's nothing like it. And if you live in a lower climate, like a zone 7 or a zone 8, it's worth doing what I just suggested to you. Just keep adding that potting soil. I mean, look, you can even see like the soil that comes out from the washing, so it ends up on the ground. Look at this stuff. It's all black. There's a rock in there. This is the stuff that just starts to wash that, from plant to plant, so you get like dirt on it like that. But even that stuff, all the soil in here is like blackish, dark brown to a blackish color. That is what you want. That is the creme de la creme. And your plants will just do phenomenal. Like these plants, you can see they're not that big, but they're absolutely loaded with fruits, which is what I want. I don't want 6 foot tall plants, because I can't bring them in. This plant is already small, it's condensed, it's already got fruit on it. So when it starts getting cold, instead of me trying to, drape some kind of a hoop house thing over this, instead of trying to waste my time doing that, I could just dig that plant up, put it in one of those grow bags for $1.49, and then move that thing either into the greenhouse or into my house. And I could do that with all of these plants, but they had a good foundation. They started in the ground. Nothing beats that, guys. Let me try to turn you around, see if I can read these comments. I can't. I am so blinded by the sun. I can't see anything. Just wanted to shoot that video for you guys. I got to go into the shade here for a minute. See if I can read something here. Hold on. Get my glasses. Whew, man, it's a hot day today here, guys. I hope you're all having a good day today. Oh my goodness. Whew. I got to get up front. I got like I got about 18 varieties of microdwarfs. I got to go pick tomatoes today. And I got to shoot video on them, and it's just tiresome. Oh, there's some people in here. Okay. All right. Hello, hello. Appreciate the hearts. Thank you. Everyone should grow something. Yeah. I highly recommend it. I definitely I definitely live my life by this, so I could talk to you a little bit. And man, it is just hot cooking today, man. I'm gonna sit down here for a minute. Oh, so I can get a break here. Whew. Let me see if I can flip you. Whew. Man, is it's just humid. It's not even necessarily hot. So that's what I'm telling you about soil in your garden. What I'm telling you is more important than a lot of the other stuff I talk about. That soil in there is so biologically rich. To me, it's invaluable because it takes years to build that soil. Believe me, I've been doing this for many, many years gardening. And breaking ground and starting your soil fresh, it's either going to be expensive or it's going to be time consuming. And when I first moved out here, I didn't want to sink $2,500 into, amending the soil. So I tried to do it the long way, which I did, and I like it, and I like it actually better than doing it the other side. The other side does okay, but I like my soil here too because it has more, seems like it's more mineralized, or the minerals are more well mixed with the organic matter, and I get much, much better results. I like it better, I'm not sure how you guys, handle it, but that's just what I do. That's the key to success for me. And if I had my options, all right, so you may want to ask the question, well, what do you like better, growing in containers or growing in the ground? That's kind of a trick question for me because I like both. I like growing in the ground and I like containers. But if I had the option, this is an interesting concept, and I'm not the only one who thinks like this. So if I had the option to buy land and then develop it for agricultural reasons, what way would I go? Would I go with the container type of situation, hot house container, or would I go with like planting in the ground like I'm doing now? Well, I mean, if you plant in the ground, you're going to eliminate a lot of problems as far as the diseases, the insects. You eliminate a lot of that, but there is limitations, and the limitations is once you plant in the ground, that plant is stuck there. It's not going anywhere. Whereas if you plant inside of a pot or one of those grow bags, it's modular. You can move it around if you need to. If you don't like where it's grown, well, just pick it up and move it in the shade. That's what I do with this stuff. How do you think all this stuff ended up underneath this canopy of trees over here? Because I put it there, I put it there, I tried it over there. One year I put it back there. One year I had it here, sunlight. I mean, I put it all over, and I watched the way the plant responds to it. And most of the times it just doesn't like to respond very well in the sunlight. Sometimes you can get some of these plants to adjust just right where they start growing, and they're actually growing into the sunlight instead of turning yellow, and like they don't like being in that direct sunlight. The sunlight burns these leaves or something very easily with these wild varieties. So yeah, I've learned that by moving stuff all around, and that's because I grow in pots and it's modular. I don't know what conditions these plants are from when they come from Brazil and Bolivia and Peru. I have no idea. They're coming from an environment that's completely foreign to me. So I have to experiment, and I like doing that in pots because I could move it around and I could get good results doing that. Some of these plants are actually they're exploding with flowers because of the way I let it grow into the weeds. That's the way it grows in its natural environment. If you would ever see this plant in its natural environment, which I did on video, you would understand what I'm talking about. And that's what I observed. Some of these wild plants like to grow into the other foliage of other trees and plants. They blend in and when you allow them to do that, for some reason, they just become compatible, and the plant just does vigorously well. The leaves are just absolutely healthy. And then you look at the stuff that I move over here and put in direct sunlight and all, they're dying off. They don't like it. They like this environment just the way it is. They like to grow next to other plants and stuff. They don't like growing directly by themselves in sunlight. They just don't like it. They're alive, but they're tolerating it. They don't like it. So that's how I learn about these things, by moving them around in pots. So the question is, I'd be curious to your question as well. The question is if you had a choice, you could buy 2 acres of a solid black parking lot with water and sewer on it, and you could put a trailer on it, and you could do, set up a little stand if you want. Maybe it's roadside. You sell your vegetables and stuff right out of it. So it's there, but the only problem is that it's just a big old fat black parking lot with, nothing on it. Or would you rather have the same 2 acres with land like I just showed you, where you can, I think my phone is around, like I showed you with the, like the ground, or regular dirt in the ground, So would you rather have that, or would you rather have a parking lot? And I'm kind of on the fence about that myself, because I am a container guy. I really like growing in these larger containers, maybe 10-gallon, 15-gallon containers, and you can just line them up in a row and just set up a whole parking lot, run a whole, what do you call it? Not sprinkler system, but yeah, you could set up a sprinkler system with a drip hoses, and you could set that up and just drip irrigate it. You don't have to go around and water every day. If you do that, you would do so much better than, in my opinion, than even growing in the ground. And the main reason for that is when you grow those grow bags and everything inside of a parking lot environment like that, you eliminate so much of the disease, and you literally eliminate a large, massive amount of the insect, because they got to cross that whole outside edges of the parking lot to get to your plants. And they do it, but they end up dying real quickly because you're able to control them with just, going around your plants and squishing them, you know what I mean? So they don't last very long. But out here, when you got all that other stuff around, they're terrible. They're absolutely awful. They get in there, like the flea beetles, I never had a problem with flea beetles in the beginning on the tomato plants. I've never had a problem with them. They never bothered my tomatoes. Now they're devouring my tomato plants like it's going out of style. And they never did that in the beginning, but now they got a taste for tomato plants, so now they're attacking my tomato plants. Can't win, right? But that's what I would do. I don't know. Like I said, I'm on the fence. Would I get the parking lot, or would I just get a regular piece of land, till it, turn it over, add stuff to it? It's a tough one for me. I'm curious what you guys would do. I've thought about it for years. I'm like, man, if I could just get myself like one big, 2-acre size parking lot, like a big Bamberger's parking lot, and just have like maybe 50 trucks that dump like a giant thing of soil, and then just buy thousands of those bags and just start filling them up. I don't know. And then, if there's water on the property, I could tap the water, put a water, build a little shed, put a water house there. And then I'd run all the plumbing out to all the, like some kind of a drip irrigation, and just let it do its thing. And just, you could grow thousands of plants that way. Peppers, tomatoes, all kinds of stuff, whatever you're into. And even if you did it for survival purposes, not survival, but like me, I grow a lot of this food too, that you see that I grow. A lot of it's for my own feeding, It's not all for just seeds. A lot of it, I live off of this, and I can it, and I eat it, and, I depend on it during the warmer months, like here. Right? So when I come out here to pick, and shoot videos like I'm doing now, or I'm coming out here to go check out my garden and all, oftentimes I just come out here to forage and snack. I'd rather eat this. I'm sorry. This is called New Zealand spinach. I'd rather eat that, and I let it grow. I'll show you. I let it grow wild all over the place now, because I like to eat this with either a tomato or a green bean. Sometimes I'll pick a nice hot pepper, and I eat those. I don't want to eat that on camera because I'm talking, but here, I'll show you really quick. See, like right here, right? We got our Capsicum eximium, right? But then right next to it, we got this, and that's called New Zealand spinach. So it tastes like spinach, but it's kind of like the texture of a lettuce, and it's crunchy, and it's good. It's a little bit, it can be bitter, so you gotta know when to pick this, but I eat it, and you could eat the whole thing. You could just like snap a whole thing off and eat it. So I will take a leaf, and I'll wrap it with a tomato and I'll eat it, and that's like a micro salad. And what I do is I just come out here and I'll just do that like all day, like literally just like munch on that all day long. And I don't know, it fills the belly, right? I mean, if it keeps me from having to go in and boil water and make rice or beans or something like that, and just I don't have to cook and not mess with dishes, I'd rather do this, to be honest with you. But I can't do it all year long. I have to, you know, like you guys, I got to buy my food and cook it from the store too, you know. But yeah, so as far as the soil goes, again, don't throw your potting soil, throw it out. If you got room to till, it's definitely worth it. You could also do this too. So you can create like a massive compost pile, and you just dump all your every year's potting soil out there. If you're like me, I pretty much like to buy a lot of the new soil for my pots every year. So I buy mushroom mulch. I'll buy several yards of it, and that's enough to fill maybe 300 or 400 of these pots or bags you see here. You know, it's quite a bit, and plus I mix it with you know, peat moss. So I'll end up with about 3 yards of soil, which is usually about good for me. And I forgot, I lost my train of thought. I had to fill the pots. I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh, I hate when I do that. I was getting at a point and I forgot. And I can't even read your comments to read where I left off. Oh, man. All right, so anyways, guys, I don't remember what I was talking about. I was talking about something. What was I talking about? Doggone it. So what's going on with you guys? Hold on. I'll flip you around for a minute. Hold on. See if I can read your comments here. I have to do it this way. Oh, okay, I see there's some people in there. We got, I can't read that. My glasses are steaming up. Felicia something. It says, hi, what kind of soil do you use for your pots? All right, I'll answer that. Just give me a second. See what else somebody says here. Peach Cupertino is a mild magnet. I can't read that. Is a something magnet. One seedling with 2 leaves. Unfortunately, I can't read it. My vision's very, very bad, guys. They're telling me my sugar levels in my blood were high, which got me concerned because I really don't eat much sugar, but I don't know. So you were asking me what kind of soil do I use? So what I use is I buy what's known as mushroom mulch from the nursery. I used to use all the other bag stuff. What you don't want to do is go to Lowe's and buy that stuff in the bags. Do not do that. I did that for years and I had terrible results with it. And now, ever since I fully switched over to what is called mushroom mulch or mushroom soil, what that is there's things out there known as mushroom farms, right? So they grow those little white button mushrooms and they grow those portobello mushrooms, and there's farms of it, and you don't realize when I say farm how much material goes into those farms. The reason why I use that soil is in order for you to grow mushrooms, the soil that you use has to be so sterile. It's cleaner than even the most cleanest hospital you can ever possibly imagine. You know how they're very sterile in hospitals, they're wiping everything down. It's even cleaner than that. It's the soil from these from the mushroom farms are so pure, disease-free, so you're not going to get any blight in it. No fusarium, no verticillium, no septoria. You're not going to get any of the diseases, and it's going to be pure and clean, and it's going to be wholesome because it's got nutrients in it for the mushrooms. And the mushrooms also help nutrients form and everything like that. It's also highly inoculated with mushroom mycelium. So when I plant this stuff, mushrooms usually, I'll turn you around there for a second. I need my glasses. Oh, goodness. The soil is highly enriched with mycelium. And so I get mushrooms that start popping up all out of these containers, and then eventually it slows down and dies out. But the mycelium's always living in there. So all you need to do is add like some rotting wood to that, and it'll burst into mushrooms right away because this thing's loaded with mycelium because it comes from that mushroom mulch. And let's spin you around. And so that mushroom mulch is like, that's what I grow in. So how do I make my mushroom mulch? So what I do is I'll buy, it's hard for me to give you a ratio on it because it's hard for me to remember how to do this. It's a half a yard of mushroom mulch to 3 bags of either your own compost that you make. You got to make some kind of a compost that's still rough and raw. So it has to be like partially digested, but not fully digested to the point where it looks like a black soil. We don't want the soil because we're getting that from the mushroom mulch. We want something to have wood chunks in it because that mushroom soil is going to bond to those wood chunks. It's going to inoculate it with mycelium, and mushrooms are going to come up. I've seen portobellas pop up out of my thing. Nice sized ones too. I'm just afraid to eat them because I don't know if they hybridize with another mushroom. So I'm a little afraid to do that, but there's people out there who know more than me, and they would eat it. It's like a portobello. It's probably edible. So I'm just afraid to do that. I don't know enough about mushrooms for me to just go start eating mushrooms. You know what I mean? But yeah, I've had some big ones come up. I was like, whoa. And so when you see that health of that soil is beyond anything you can possibly imagine. It's the best material I literally ever grew in. And the results that I see that come out of it are like, I can't even put words on it. It's better than my super soil. And I do super soils like you wouldn't believe, but I never used the mushroom mulch in my super soils. That's the next thing to do. I'm getting ready to do that mushroom mulch in the super soils. And man, I'm really curious now, but that's expensive. That would cost me thousands to do that properly with all the plants that I grow. But just out of the curiosity, it would be worth it. That is the kind of soil I grow in, and that's what I would recommend you do. If you have a nursery nearby, get on the phone, make some phone calls, and ask around. Say, hey, do you have mushroom soil? Like the soil that comes from the mushroom farms. Do you have any of that? And if they say yeah, go there, and don't be afraid to ask questions like, what kind of mushroom farm is it, or ask them, because not everybody's honest too. They'll tell you it's mushroom soil and it's garbage. So make sure you ask around, make sure you talk to them about the mushroom farm, and they're not going to want to know what, don't ask what mushroom farm because you're thinking you're going to cut them out of the deal. But ask them, is it you sure it's and then when you look at the stuff, just so you know, I should show you this really quick. Hold on, let me get my old bones up. Oh! Show you something. I don't know if they're going to be in this mix, but there might be. Let me just see if there's one in here. So this is how you know. This is how you're going to know you got a good type of mushroom mulch. Now this stuff is highly mixed, but I'm going to look for. A lot of times in this mushroom mulch. Let's see. No, that's not one. Okay, I got to spin you around. I'm going to spin you around. Hang tight. Come on, baby. I got to be real careful when I press buttons here because I turn things off. All right, one of the things I want you to know when you're buying this soil, mushroom soil, you have to see, can you see that white stuff in there? Okay, that's the mycelium. That little bit of mycelium will eventually inoculate all of this. What you're seeing mostly right here is you're seeing it's 3 bags of the peat moss that's in here, right? But this is what you're seeing right here is parts of the mushroom mulch that's mixed into it. And the reason why I like to mix this in here because all of this peat moss is going to get inoculated with these patches of mycelium. You see this white mycelium. But what I'm looking for are the starter. They have, when you buy mushroom mulch, you're going to get these little weird things. They're like, I don't know, they're about this big and they're about round like my thumb. I don't know if it looks like a piece of corn on a cob almost, and there's like a kind of a hollow center in it. But that thing's absolutely inoculated. Those are the inoculations. I forgot what they call them. They're called, there's a name for it. It's like a plug. It's an inoculating plug, and they put it inside the soil that they're growing the mushrooms. And so when you're buying the soil, you're gonna want to look for the white, right? Like you got there, and then you're going to want to look for these things I'm going to show you. Like this is a piece of the, this is a chunk of it. This ain't the inoculated, whatever they call it, dowel, inoculation dowels. I don't know what they call them. But this is the actual mushroom mulch. And when you break it, watch what happens when I break this. I'll try to get here. I want to do this for you nicely so you can see it. All right, you can see when I break it open, you see how there's all that white inside there? See all that white crystally stuff? Right, that right there is the shizzle. We call that shizzle because that stuff is so good, it sizzles. And that white stuff is what you want to see. And that stuff is mixed throughout here, but that's not these inoculating plugs that I'm talking about. I'm trying to see if I can find one for you. They break down too, so they don't last. And plus, when I mix the soil, I grind everything up too. I break those plugs up because I want to inoculate. Is this one? This is a part of one. They look like this. It's like a plug. And then in the inside of this plug is hollow. And that's where all of my mycelium infests inside of there. And it really, it breeds itself. But they kind of look like this. It's a plug of some kind. And they break up because they're old and they're used. So they break up. The mycelium digests it. And so I break them up and I mix that in there because those things are highly inoculated. When you plant in this stuff, I'm telling you, when you plant in this stuff, you're going to see results on your plants that you've never seen before. Forget about all the fertilizers and all that stuff. You don't even need that. All you need to do is make your soil the way I make it, and these plants will go absolutely phenomenal. Now, I'll give you an idea. Like, here's some soil that I made. Like a lot of this soil, like for example, you see this big chunk of wood here? You see that? That's there on purpose because that's going to grow a whole bunch of mushrooms on it. It's going to make some cool stuff by the end of the year. But I do that on purpose because this thing's highly inoculated with that mushroom soil. And that stuff will grow on here. You'll see like portobellos pop off this piece, dude. And so I do that on purpose. But this was made with my own stuff. This isn't like me buying like what you see that I just showed you there. This was made homemade completely with the mushroom compost. That's different stuff. This here is more or less the commercial stuff that I use. So I use peat moss for this, and I use the mushroom mulch for it. But like this is it after it's. This is what it looks like after it sets up. It gets a nice stiffness to it. It's almost like a cake. It gets a nice feel to it. It's like it stays nice. It's nice and fluffy. It stiffens up like a cake, and then the roots grow in between all those cracks and everything. And the plants can do very, very well in it. This is still a fresh mix. It hasn't, like, I haven't had a chance to plant in it because I ran out of pots. I literally have like 200 pots like this out all over the place, everywhere. So, but this is if you ask what I grew, and now, if you really want to sweeten the pot here, if you want to make this a little extra, which I personally, I'm getting absolutely phenomenal results without doing anything. And I'm spending all this extra money every year to put the rock dust in it, to put this in it, to add that to it. I don't mind doing that, but it costs money. And now the cost of living has gone up so much that I got to start cutting corners, unfortunately. And I can't do all of that wonderful stuff I did anymore. So now I'm cutting back on all those nutrients and I'm trying to just do it as raw, bare bones as possible and see if I still get the same or better results. And so far, I'm getting about the same results. And I'm not adding all that extra stuff. But if you want to sweeten the pot a little bit, you can add some rock dust to it. What I like to do, believe it or not, I do like I told you, I do 3 bags of peat moss, 2.2 cubic feet. I do 3 of those per half cubic yard of mushroom mulch, and I'll mix that really good. And then what I like to do, believe it or not, is get a 5-gallon bucket's worth of the dirt that I just showed you, like from back here or in the back over here, because it does add up after a while, so I have to dig some of it out and then put it in the back. So I'll tap the back part of it with that natural dirt, and I'll mix a 5-gallon bucket to that mix. And man, my plants do so good, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's... I'm trying to spin you around here. Man, you can't... These phones are so stupid nowadays. I'm talking to you right now. I don't see a thing. What I'm seeing is a black screen. That's all I can see. Can't you make like a screen so I can see it during the daylight? No, right? I have to go all the way down here into the shade just to talk to you guys. It's stupid. I feel stupid doing this. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I figured that'd be helpful. We're getting close to the end of the season, but I want to encourage you, like next year, if you've never done the mushroom mulch and you never did what I told you to, like I showed you in the soil, like what I do, if you've never done that, you need to do that. You need to mix that into your soil, and you have to work it in there for like several years. Once that soil reaches a certain point, you almost never have to do anything with it again. It stays permeable like that every year, whether I dig it or not. It's always soft, and that's what you want to do. You want to get that material in there, and it'll never turn into a clumpy clay type stuff again. It always stays permeable. But that's what I do. Here, let me see if I gotta find my glasses now. So hey, let me ask you guys a question. Is the stream working okay right now? Are you able to see me, hear me? Is it going quiet? I don't have any feedback from anybody because this phone sucks so bad that sometimes it works and sometimes it just doesn't. No matter what I do, it cuts off the volume and the mic gets muted, and I don't know. Maybe I got to get a selfie stick for this thing because my hands are big and they just get all over the place. So let me put on some glasses so I can read. Oh man, it is so bright here. I'm literally going blind. Oh, okay, that's a little better. All right, so where are we here? Okay. All right, there's no way. I have to go into the dark. I got to go into the dark. Let me see here. It says aphids, I think. I'm not sure about the aphids part. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Yeah, I do get aphids here and stuff, but I go through an extensive amount of like cleaning and stuff like that to keep it under control. It's not a spray and walk away type thing. Out here, that's another reason why all my plants are out here. So my plants don't get aphids when I bring them outside. But inside that greenhouse, oh, it can turn into an absolute disaster. Believe me. Grow outdoors, I have no problems with insects at all. None. Maybe a caterpillar here and there you might get on a leaf or something, but as soon as they go in that greenhouse, aphid infestations, spider mite infestations, broad mite infestations, I mean, it's just stupid. I mean, I like growing in greenhouses, but I can't deal with the insects. They're just... I'm to a point where I feel like I want to rip the greenhouse down. I can't even use it. As soon as I put something in there, they come out I don't even know where they're coming from. They just pour in there and they just start causing all kinds of insane damage. Let me see here. Aphids, interesting. Yeah, it's good to know. Believe me when I tell you, what I just told you right now is probably the best advice I could ever give you if you're looking to scale up in your gardening. If you're just going to stay small and grow in a small little 10 by 10 plot, don't worry about any of that. Just do it like you normally do. Always add compost to the ground if it's like a raised bed or something. Don't forget the cardboard and all that stuff. Some of these people show you some things on there. I mean, I almost find it absolutely ridiculous. When you're putting your raised beds down, they tell you to put the cardboard down and do it. Oh, don't do that. Just scrape that top layer of grass off it. Take your shovel, turn it into there. You don't even have to break it up. Just take your shovel, put it in there, turn it, shovel's worth upside down, break it up with the shovel. That's all you got to do. And then put your raised bed on there and then fill it up with compost and turn that dirt into it. Mix that dirt in. That is the key. That's what's going to get you down deeper into those deeper layers of soil. That's where some of the richest nutrients are going to be. The best nutrients start to sink down in the soil after thousands of years. You don't realize it, but that dirt you got in your yard's been sitting there for thousands and thousands of years, right? So all those minerals start to work their way down as they break down, and the best stuff is down there like maybe 2.5, 3 feet. That's why you got dandelions and burdock root. They put those roots real deep in the ground because they're sucking into those really super rich nutrients and they're pulling that up to the top of the ground. That's why it's good to let the dandelions grow in your yard because it pulls those real deep nutrients up to the surface. And then it feeds the other plants with it. So you kind of need to get down there a little bit. But it's totally worth doing. Trust me, believe me. I've been doing this a long time and I've grown in many different soil conditions and nothing beats what growing in the ground and the way I explained it to you. And if you really wanted to top that off even a little bit even better than that, you, instead of doing like I did, ordering truckloads of like regular mulch, you would want to order truckloads of that mushroom soil. Man, that would really do you a number on that stuff. That's it. But that stuff will break down faster than the stuff that I use, because I use like tree mulch. I had big chunks of wood in it still, so that takes time to break down. And I wanted that, to work itself into the soil. So I kind of want those chunks in the beginning. But I should have made one of those truckloads a truckload of that mulch. I would have had a mushroom farm back here. Not that I would have ate them, but I mean, you want to see those mushrooms. Those mushrooms is everything. It works. Is it expensive? Oh, for the mushroom soil. Okay, so I got a pickup truck, like basic pickup truck. So the back of a bed. So a half a yard would be like a pretty big pile in the back of your truck. If you've never seen what a yard looks like, or a half a yard, it's a lot of material. It's a big pile, dude. So I usually buy a half a yard at a time, because I have a cab on the back of it, So he's got to go in there and dump it, and I got to shovel it all in there. So I do a half a yard at a time. A half a yard should cost you around $35. That's what I pay. So a full yard should cost you around $70. Most places are going to charge you between $35 and $60 if you want it delivered. If you've never done it before and you don't know if you're going to have a room to fill up your truck with, just pay the delivery charge a couple times. Maybe you can make a deal with them and say, listen, I want 4 yards. Would you be willing to deliver it free? You can ask them first. Or would you be willing to give me a reduced rate on the shipping, like for 35 or something, and I'll take 4 yards off you if you do that. If not, then I'll come down and pick it up. Try to work a deal. There's always a deal to be made in that stuff. But it's well worth it in the end. That mushroom soil will never do you wrong. That stuff, it not only, it does break down into eventually nothing, because it is carbon. So carbon, anything that's black you see in the ground, all that carbon, that black, so that eventually turns back down into a gas and goes back into the atmosphere. And then the plants will absorb the carbon out of the atmosphere and then turn it back into plant matter. And that's basically the cycle. But that mulch will feed your ground for many, 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 many years afterwards, because it's been so inoculated with mushrooms. I don't even know how to describe to you the difference. And I've been growing for the better part of 25, 30 years. I've been in the gardening thing for a long time. And I know what I'm doing. I've been around for a while. I've done all the bag soils. I've done my own compost piles, worm bins. I've done it all, guys. And some things are just overbearing, and they take a lot out of you. When you're growing 600 plants, I don't have time to play games. I got to get in there, get it in the ground. I got to get, I can't play games with, making videos, and I like making videos, but I can't play games with doing that and then trying to buy all this stuff and then put it in the ground. It's expensive and it's time consuming. So I found this to be a major relief as far as just using that and getting really fantastic results in it. So yeah, that's what I would do. And it's going to take you it's going to take you time to build it, but it's worth it. If you do it, you will be so happy in the long run. Believe me. Like I said, I've been doing it for years. Let me see. He says, the stream is all right. Okay, good. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback, because I've been doing these streams and I've been talking and you can't hear me for like an hour. And so I don't want that. If you can't hear me, people got to go in the comment section and be like, yo, dude, we can't hear what you're saying. Somebody let me know, because I have no idea if I'm getting volume or not. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you for letting me know. Because YouTube is like, I don't know what to tell you. I like YouTube, but it's a broken system, man. It ain't what it was 10 years ago. It's broken now, and it's like the more they try to make it better, they make it nothing but worse. And I'm not the only one complaining about it. There's all kinds of other people who do live streams, and they all complain about the same kind of thing. It's very annoying, especially when you try to connect with, you try to connect with your viewers and other viewers, and it's like you can't do that because YouTube is just a failed system. And then he's got here, oh, so it's cheap. Yeah. Well, $35 for a half a yard? Yeah, dude. If you're buying those bags from Lowe's, let me try to get over here. If you're buying those bags from Lowe's, you're going to pay, what did I do? Oh my God, I don't want to step on my sunglasses. If you're buying them bags from Lowe's, you're going to pay so much more. Those bags are like $8. And first of all, they're like $8. Second of all, a lot of that soil that you're buying from Lowe's and all that, a lot of that is mixed with what's known as biosolids. So what are biosolids? Biosolids are materials, organic materials in sludge from the sewer system. And they take that and they mix it into soil, and they add compost to it, and it all digests it down, and then it ends up in your garden, and next thing you know, you're stuck with nothing but biosolids in your garden, and there's stuff in there that you ain't going to be able to get out. Don't use the bag soil. That's my best advice. I mean, but if you had no choice, what should you do? Well, you could buy like the organic bag soils, but they don't put the biosolids in it. But oh my God, the price you're going to pay for that is absolutely. You cannot beat the soil that I have right now. You can't. You can't even buy something that good. You understand? That soil is so good, I could literally dig that up and use that as my pots, but I'd have no garden left if I did that. I could do that. Instead of me buying all that stuff, I could dig all that stuff up and fill up all of these grow bags. The problem is I'd have no soil left in my garden. So I buy it new every year, and I replenish it. And I'll show you here. Let me turn you around really quick. I'll take you for a walk in the back. I'll just show you. I want to show you like where I dump my old soil, and I let it sit for a little while. And then, you know, after it sits there, I add it back. Yeah, I have a small pile I use here for, you know, just filling pots and whatnot. But in the back is where I like to let it steep, or just let it sit there and gain the natural biology of my yard. Let me turn you around. All right, let's go for a little walk over here. I'll take you in the back. It's a beautiful day today, nice and sunny. Coming past the old wood. There's your, just so you know, that's wormwood, right? This is called sweet wormwood. And this is where you're going to get your ivermectin from. So if you got cancer like me, you're going to be eating a lot of this plant. Let me just show you. So, you know, you got your regular dirt all down in this ground, which is just a brown dirt like this. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Like this dirt right here. I mean, this is nice Pennsylvania dirt. This is actually not bad stuff, but you can see it's compressed, and the plants will grow in it. And like a lot of these are dirt, they're like clay buster plants. These things will grow in this and break the clay up, but you're never going to get a finish like I showed you. It takes years to turn it from that into what I got. Years. But if you start now, eventually it'll turn into that, and you do good along the way. Don't think that you got to wait 10 years before you end up with good results. No. You're going to get good results within the first 2 or 3 years. You're going to get great results. But what I'm saying is it gets better and better and better and better and better and better. By the time you get to 10 or 20 years, by the time you get to that point, that's all so good. It's better than it was when I first started using it. Okay, so what you're looking at here, this is my soil in the back of my property. Let me back you up. So this is all my old potting soil. So I pile it up here for a couple of years. And one of the reasons why I do that, if I'm getting too much sickness in one particular pot of soil, I never reuse it. Not that I never reuse it, I just don't use that pot of soil that my plant got sick in, and it's not going to get recirculated back into my good stuff to eliminate and keep the diseases low. So I take that soil and I bring it back here, and it goes into this holding period, if you will. And this can sit here it can sit there indefinitely, but from time to time I will come back here and fill up pots with it. And I'll take that soil and I'll actually reuse it years down the road. But I don't like to come back here and dig out of this for at least 3 to 4 years. So this is a couple of years in, and by next year, or all those pots you see in the greenhouse, they're going to end up back here, and I'm just going to end up piling it up higher. But this soil doesn't go to waste; this gets reused. And this is my soil. This is the pile that I dump all my soil. You can see there's all kinds of perlite in it. There's thousands of dollars worth of material in here. This stuff isn't garbage, dude. This stuff has a lot of nutrients. It has to be recycled at some point. We just want the biology in it because it was either off and it's no good. It needs to rebalance. And that's what this pile does. It allows nature to rebalance it with the rain. You can see I let the branches and the leaves fall on it. I let the natural funguses in the environment come down and repopulate and reinvigorate the soil. And eventually this old potting soil, as you can see here, this is beautiful black topsoil. Now a lot of this soil here too, also my earlier mixes like with this has sand in it. So this is very sandy like. because I used to put a lot of sand in my soil, but you don't necessarily need to do that with the compost, with the mushroom compost, because that's already loose. And if you mix it with the peat moss, it's even better. But you could see the beautiful richness of the soils I make. This, guys, this stuff is so unbelievably good, it's ridiculous. The only problem with this soil is it may have had like fusarium or verticillium in it or something, some kind of a disease. I didn't like it, maybe a virus, plants died. So I take that bucket, come back here, dump it, let it sit for about 4 or 5 years. And then after a while, this soil will actually, it'll be better than the soil new, you know, because it's already broken down and reinvigorated. And then what I also what I do is, as you can see back here, let me see here. As you can see back here, that's the wormwood. That's all extra wormwood I had to cut down. You see I let all the branches and the logs, you see all the branches? I let that all sit here. Now, it's very dangerous. This don't really, if you have property, you shouldn't do what I'm doing. Don't do like me. Definitely don't do this. This could be very dangerous to do because copperheads and rattlesnakes love to go in this kind of stuff. And when you decide that you start to go clean that's where you're going to get bit right in the leg. So I don't recommend doing this. This is just because I was sick last year and a couple years before, and I didn't have the time to break my chipper out here to go and grind all this up and to turn it into a mulch. I didn't have the time, so I piled it up. But this is where I'm leaving all my piled up cut greens. But this isn't garbage. This is eventually going to turn into that. And what's even better about this stuff is I don't want to turn that into a black soil. I want to turn this into something like, let me show you an example of what I use when I make my soils. I want to show you something I use, and it's very important because this stuff is really what makes that mushroom mulch pop like an explosive. So what I like to do is I let these logs, like you see all these logs, you see how they're all inoculated. Now that may or may not be a good mycelium. That's all mycelium too, by the way. See all that inoculation? That's all in there. We want that in the soil. But what I like to do is I like to come back here and I like to take chunks of this stuff like this. Now this is the logs, right? And I like to take this stuff. Look how soft this wood is. See how it's crumbling into powder in my hands? I like to take it like that and break it into about a particle size like what you see here. Random particle size, but I like big chunks in there. I want those big chunks because those big chunks are going to get inoculated and they're going to form a good mycelium. And when you grow your plants in this stuff, they become so resilient that no diseases could kill them. And not only that, the insects don't even bother the plants because they're so healthy that they produce compounds that make the insects go away. They don't even want to feed on your plants because they're so healthy. But this is what I like to use in my soil. When I tell you, when I make my own soil, I'll take mushroom mulch, I'll take this stuff and I'll grind it up with a shovel or something like that. I'll break it all down into a big pile like I just showed you of this stuff here. I break it down into a pile of this. I mix that in there. And you could throw your nutrients in it. I take like 1 or 2 5-gallon pails, like 1 5-gallon pail. Too much of that could plug your soil up when you're in pots. So you don't want too much dirt, but 1 5-gallon pail to that mix. Add several handfuls of this. Or if you want, you can maybe break up some of this stuff that has the mycelium on it already. This is like a candy log for your ground. You have no idea. That's how valuable this stuff is for your garden. It's just ridiculous. This kind of stuff I also like to add to my soil mix. And you can see it breaks up nice, right? But I like it nice and still kind of hard like this. I kind of like this because by the end of the year, this is gone. What you're looking at. If I put that in that soil, by the end of the year, this will be gone. When you have that much biology in your soil, this will be gone in it's like grease lightning, gone fast. It's done. So it's not going to waste. You see a lot of guys will tell you, don't add that. That's not digested enough. It's not composted enough. It's going to rob all the nitrogen out of your soil. Don't listen very closely to me. Don't listen to some of these people. I love John, but some things I don't agree with John on, and he is good. I learned a lot from John, and I'm talking about John, what the hell is his name? His name's John. He's like the same name as me. He has a great YouTube channel. It's called Growing Your Greens, I think. Growing Your Greens. com, something like that. He's a great guy, don't get me wrong. But I don't agree with everything he says. He says not to put this in your soil because it robs the nitrogen out of your soil. Guys, I've been doing this for years. I mean, I could show you tricks on how to go into a forest and look for certain areas. You can get lucky, you can find it. There's certain areas in soil in your forest. When you go down and you start moving all this stuff away, you're going to find, you're not even really supposed to do this, but there's certain areas where there's like ancient, I don't know what it is. It's like a bacterial colony, and it's a natural bacterial colony, and it ground, and you can go into the ground, you can find this stuff, and you dig a handful of that up and you bring it up, you mix it into your soil. Dude, that stuff is like, it'll actually start to grow and become something. I forgot what it's called, and New Jersey's loaded with it. New Jersey's absolutely loaded with that stuff. And I'm gonna read your comments here. Let me just go back a bit here. Scroll back. It says, yeah, the bags are freaking expensive, and sometimes the plants don't grow in it. Yeah, part of that reason is also too, who am I talking to here? Felicia? Phallic? I can't see your name, so please forgive me for your channel. It begins with an F-E-L, so I'll just call you Fel for short. Yeah, part of the reason why those bag soils are no good is what happens is there's an expiration date on a bag, and they gotta sell it by a certain period of time, and if they don't, the bag's got to go back to the guy who sent it to them, and they take those bags again, they open them back up, they dump it back into a pile, they add a couple more of those Miracle Grow little bead things to it, and then they put it back in a bag and they give it to you. You could only do that with soil so much before the soil becomes what I call rancid or unsweetened. It's like old potting soil. It's like, the soil is good, but it has to go through a revitalization process like you see I'm doing now. And then once it does that for a year or two or so, and you're just letting the biology balance itself out, and you add some like regular dirt to it, you can revitalize that soil. That's not what they do at Lowe's or Home Depot. Those bag soils get sent back to the company. They open them back up. They dump them back out. They mix a bunch of stuff into it. Maybe they add some they'll take that soil and they'll put it to the lower grade soil, and they'll add the biosolids to it, and they'll sell it to you as like Miracle Grow garbage, right? You don't want that. Stay away from that, dude. I did that for years myself, and I've had nothing but really, really crappy results. The best thing to do is, like I told you, you get that mushroom mulch, and you mix it with your either your own compost. You either take the mushroom mulch and mix it with like the stuff I told you here, and you need a lot of logs to do that too, by the way. Like for me to do a half a yard of mushroom mulch with this stuff, I'd have to grind up at least 50% of what you see here. I'd have to grind that up at least 50%, maybe even all of it for one half a yard. No, about half of this, about half of that from like there all the way to here. I'd have to grind all that up into like a powdery form to mix it in. You need that in there. Yeah. So the bag soil, that's the reason why your plants don't grow, because it's recycled, and as a result of it being recycled, it's just nutrient, it's dead. You can't leave soil in the bag sitting in the sun on the shelf for like a year or 2 years. You can't do that. It just goes rancid. This is living soil. Even my old soil is better than the stuff you're getting in the store, and that's why. It strongly depends on the soil. Says I had the best results with citrus soil. I'm not familiar with that. Citrus soil, I'm assuming, what is that, like orange peels it's a composted orange peel? Or oranges, I guess, from squeezing orange juice, and they take that and turn that into a compost. I never quite heard of that before. I'd be interested in learning about that. I don't have access, I wouldn't have access to citrus soil anyway, but I'd still be curious to know about it. With citrus soil, it says, oh no, you have cancer. Man, may I ask what kind of cancer? I have bladder cancer. What I have is, trying to remember the name here because it's not an easy cancer to remember, but I have bladder cancer for short. It's just a tumor. It's just one area. It doesn't seem to be spreading. It's a benign type of cancer. It's non-muscle invasive. It's low grade. It's like in a T10 area of things. And it's a carcinoma. It's a papillary carcinoma. It's a cancer of the lining of the bladder. So it didn't actually get roots that go down into the bladder. It's just on the lining, so they can still relatively scrape that away every time a growth pops up. Some people even say that it's technically not even a cancer because it's a papilloma, and so that's more of a virus than a cancer. But I'm doing the ivermectin thing, and I'm also doing the fenben thing, and I have to go for a Cisco in September. So maybe I'll do a video on that, and I'll give you guys some updates with it. It's nothing really too bad to worry about. I almost actually died from appendicitis. That was going to kill me quicker than cancer would get me. But the cancer is, we're going to see if we can get it under control with the fenben, the menben, and the ivermectin. I am sucking that ivermectin down by the tube right now. So, and I feel great, to be honest with you. The ivermectin, I don't know. It's like, maybe I did have parasites or something. I don't know. I do eat a lot of raw. You know, when you forage like I do, and you eat stuff right off the plants, and there's parasites on that stuff at times, and you could get it inside of you. So maybe I got something from that. I don't know. Right, let me just scroll up a little. It says, I'm so sorry. No, it's cool, man. The cancer, dude, it's good, man. Cancer's bullshit. Just so you know that. Don't ever let people tell you that you're gonna die of cancer, and that's all horse shit. They're making millions of dollars on your cancer, and it's already a proven fact that the fenbendazole, the menbendazole, and the ivermectin and the hydroxychloroquine are having absolutely enormous results. I mean, there's people that I talked to on Facebook that were stage 4 cancer. Stage 4, stage 5, they stop feeding you. You understand? He was stage 4. He had tumors all over the place. One guy had a tumor on his face. He started rubbing ivermectin on the tumor on his face, the cancer on his face, and it dried up and fell off his face. So, and that melanoma cancer, whatever that is called, that's some of the worst cancer you can get. Pancreatic cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, and any kind of melanoma or carcinoma or sarcomas, mostly any of those those are the worst you can get. That is the absolute killers. And these people are taking the fenbendazole, and these tumors are literally disappearing in like 30 days. So I'm not worried about it, man. It's all good, dude. Don't ever let something like that get you. There's always an option, you know. But no, it's cool. I appreciate the love, you know. People, let's like up and live. yeah, like it up, man. Come on, guys, thumb that thing up. YouTube has like been killing me, man, lately, and it's like I had to stop making videos for like a year because I was fighting cancer. You know, I was going to the hospitals like 3 times a week. You know, and it was killing me, basically. The hospitals were killing me, not even the cancer. So I had to go through that whole thing, and so I wasn't like making videos, and as a result of that, YouTube like basically throttled my whole channel down by 2/3. Before that happened, my channel was like thriving. You know, I was getting like 1,000 subs a month, and my channel was thriving, and then YouTube just decided to come in and just cut it down because I stopped making videos. So yeah, any thumbs up is always helpful. I appreciate all of the love, you know. But we're good, man. There's nothing to worry about with cancer. Maybe I'll do a video in the future, and we'll do a pro-cancer thing. The thing is that you got to understand, if I start talking about these things, and YouTube is going to like throttle the video down, and so I might do it on Facebook because I could get away with it there. But on YouTube, I'm afraid to talk about anything on YouTube because you say one little tiny little thing and YouTube will you get a strike. Like if I said the word black or something like that, not even having anything to do with race or anything, just the color black, I get flagged for it by YouTube's algorithm. So you got to be like really careful. You gotta let that wood, see how I let that wood rot? Eventually this dirt, what I'll do is I'll take that dirt and I'll dig that up, whatever I'm not using, and I'll feed it into this pile. I'm gonna grind a lot of this up, and I'm gonna feed that into it, and I'm gonna let that whole thing turn into a nice natural pile. And then I'll just reuse it, and it'll be good all over again. Every bit of that, none of this ever goes to waste. You can recycle every bit of what you see here. I'll show you something too in a minute. Citrus soil is for citrus plants. Oh, okay. I don't know anything about it. Be interesting though to learn a little bit about it. I didn't know there was a citrus soil. Yes, please take care about the health. Yeah, I'm good with the health, man. The thing that I'm not good with is the $500,000 bills I'm getting. That's the part that's scary, dude. But we're working around now. We're applying for Medicaid and stuff like that. So I don't have insurance. So you either have insurance. So the way it works with insurance is, here, let me spin you. So the way it works with insurance, if you don't have insurance, you're self-pay, they call it. So I don't have insurance, and I can't, the thing is, I can't even get insurance. You know what I'm saying? So the only way I can get accepted, I have to have a primary doctor. I don't know, dude. It's the only way for me to get that is I have to apply for Medicaid, and then I can get a primary physician, and then from there, I can get referrals to go to the hospital, get the stuff I need. I got a hernia. That's another little problem I got. I got a groin hernia. I got a hernia like on my belly, but like to the left of it. And that could become it's a real small hernia, but that can rip and become a big problem real quick. A gut can pop right out of that thing. Those are like the worst hernias. If you ever get a hernia down there, that's one area you don't play games with, man, because your guts are always sitting on that little hole, and it's just wants to rip that bag right open, and it could become a real problem very quick. It could become an emergency room visit very fast. So I have a little hernia I got to deal with. But in order for me to get these things done, I got to have a primary care physician. Where do I get one of those? I don't know. I don't know how you get them. Unless you get insurance. Now, I can't get the insurance because, I don't know, you got to qualify or something for it. I got to apply for Compass or something first. Anyway, I don't know. I just go in the emergency room and we go from there. So, yeah, it's $500,000. I owe some money, man. We owe some bucks. Hopefully we can get it straightened out, which I think we could, But no, the health is good. We're still drinking distilled water. I'm not against it. Though I will say I learned something about distilled water, and that is you really need to supplement when you're drinking distilled water. So if you're going to go on the distilled water thing, definitely start supplementing. That's my advice now. I didn't know that in the beginning. After 20 years of drinking it, yeah, my electrolytes dropped down a lot, and it does have a slight effect on your health. But you need, as long as you're eating good food and you're taking nutrients in, especially the electrolytes. Like I use fasting salts, which has like phosphorus and potassium in it, and sodium, and it has a couple other things, and that's all in that fasting salts. That's what you need. Those are electrolytes, and you need those. And when you drink distilled water, you don't get that, and it can cause problems. Low electrolytes can cause other problems in your body, including higher blood pressure, higher sugar levels in your blood. It all contributes to that. So you got to make sure your balance is good. But other than that, we're good, man. I'm ready to rock and roll, man. I'm actually going to start my fasting routine, which is something I'd like to share with you guys, So when I fast for 3 days, I want you to see what happens, what you go through when you fast. A lot of people don't know that, so they're afraid to fast, but I want to show you what you go through. I'll do a daily vlog on my fast. I'll do like a 3-day and do a daily vlog, just, a quick thing, maybe a half hour long, and just answer questions and let you know how I'm feeling and everything. And then that way you could kind of encourage you to maybe try it someday. And the fasting also too, just so you know, the fasting is also very important when you got cancer, because cancer, it lives off of sugars, and even if you don't eat sugar, your liver is going to manufacture sugar. It manufactures glucose. And so one of the things that are really important to do when you do have cancer, one of those things is to fast. And when you fast, your body goes into ketosis. That's when you start burning fat and all that other stuff. Well, that's what you want to do, because when you go into ketosis, you're basically cannibalizing yourself. And if you have a tumor in your body and you're cannibalizing yourself, well, we don't need the tumor anymore, right? We could turn that into pure energy, and we can turn it into calories. So the way I see it is the fat and the tumors that I got, well, I see that as energy. I don't want them cut out. I want those recycled and then turned back into pure energy so I can grow more plants. So that's what I plan on doing. I plan on cannibalizing the tumors and burning up some of the excess fat that I got and turn that back into energy. And then I don't have to spend that money in the store at $500 a grocery store visit. You know what I mean? I can maybe skip a month because I fasted for so long. I didn't need to spend that money. So now I just made $500 on fat that I use like a storage. So I gained that fat off of food that I was paying $300 from the store. So I stored it for like 10 years. And now I have that fat that was paid for at $300. I'm going to cash in on that fat and the tumors, and we're going to turn that into, $500 value, because now I'm not buying food from the store at $500 now or $600 now, and I'm getting it now. I'm using up that $300 fat and tumors, and I'm going to use that for energy. I know, I'm just teasing you. I'm just kidding you. It's just me ranting. What you got here? It says, I ask AI for literally everything, and it helps me a lot. Yeah, AI is kind of addicting, but be careful. I will tell you that much. Be careful. And the reason why I say be careful is a lot of times I ask it stuff and I check it. I literally back check it, fact check it, whatever you want to call it, and it's not always right. And it's not always, and I check it against my website because I want to see what it's saying about my website, and it doesn't get the information on my website right. And so you got to be careful with that. Just take it with a grain of salt. You may have to double check behind it, but a lot of times it's good for like informational stuff. Like I want to know about a certain pepper variety and I want the like background story on it. I can AI that, and I get that in a nutshell, and it's usually pretty good, pretty accurate, pretty good. But when you start getting into other things, and it's important to you, you should double check it. Don't just take it at face value. So it's good, but it's not foolproof. It's not like Almighty God. It's definitely not even close to that. Although they're trying to say that it is, I'm going to be honest with you. That's probably a bubble that's going to blow. I'm going to be honest. This whole thing with this whole the data centers, the flock cameras, and this whole, I don't know, this data retention and all this stuff that they're doing. My opinion, if you're invested in ETFs and you've got some money in the stock market, my opinion is to move a little bit away from the tech department. I wouldn't keep too much more in the techs. I definitely keep my money into spreaders and stuff like that, S&P 500s and spreaders, stuff like that. You're not going to go wrong with it. Stay away from the techs. I mean, if your ETFs are paying you a decent dividend, maybe it's worth keeping a few of them. But the majority of it, I would be very cautious with the tech department, because I got a feeling that big fat pussy boil is going to blow. And a lot of people are going to get burned on that one. It's just a matter of time. The whole AI thing is a big fat bubble. It's nothing more than to me, it's nothing more than an overhyped, overblown, advanced program that already takes what's off the net. It's not reading minds. It's not able to talk to me like another human being. I've already taken AI and I've had like conversations with it, like I would have with you, conversation, and it's just a program, dude. It's an advanced program, but that's it. And it's a bubble, and it's going to pop. So just move your money to something that would be a little bit more, less tech, if you will. That'd be my best advice. It's because it's coming. It's coming. You thought .com was bad. This is going to be even worse. And they're all cashing in on it. Trump's tokenizing water now. He's tokenizing this. Oh, man, dude, it's bad. I'm telling you. It's either going to go full draconian or it's going to pop. So my bet is I think it's going to pop. People are going to they don't like it. They don't want it, and it's going to blow. Let me see here. It says a diet of only oats and let me back up here. A diet of only oats for 2 days is good for diabetes. The liver. I used to love oatmeal too. I used to eat oats. I'll talk to you about that in a second. For the combating high blood pressure and high cholesterol. I used to love oats. That's one of the things I used to like to do, is have nice hot oatmeal in the morning, and then a little milk on that, and well, just pinch a little sugar on there. But I used to love oatmeal. Can't eat it no more, because all the oats now are highly sprayed with glyphosate, and I have irritable bowel syndrome. And what that is basically, if I eat something that my body doesn't like and it irritates my bowels, it comes right out. And it's either going to come out this way or it's going to come out the other way. My body doesn't want it, and it's coming out. And if it comes out this way, well, how that works. If it comes out the other way, what that does is it pulls all your stomach bile down through your intestines, and it burns your intestines with hot fresh stomach, yellow and green stomach bile, and then you crap that out, and it burns everything on the way out badly, very badly. It's not like a capsaicin burn either. This thing is taking off a layer of skin off your rectum. I mean, these reactions can be extremely bad. And I get those reactions from like oats, bread, you know, that's really what it is. Anything wheat product, anything, I can get that reaction. Sometimes it's worse, sometimes it's not. Some breads cause it, some of them don't. It's a flip coin. But oatmeal is one of the things I used to like to eat because it was easy, make it in the morning, eat that, go to work. Can't eat it no more because it does that to me. And I have to find another way. So I eat eggs in the morning and stuff like that. Sometimes I could get away with grits. But the oatmeal I miss because it was good. I just can't eat it. And it's a good fiber too. Don't get me wrong. Oats is good. It's just the problem is the oats they sprayed in these fields with glyphosate. I don't know what to say. And this glyphosate is so bad for you, man. Look at me. All years of thinking I was eating good and all that. I was eating nothing but glyphosate my whole life, and now I'm getting cancer. I got problems with my digestive tract. And I grew my food for years, and that little bit that I would eat throughout 40 years of doing that eventually ripped my guts apart and cancers and everything else. So I would stay away from anything like that, you know. Don't get me wrong. If you could grow your own oats and make your own homemade oatmeal, oh, dude, that's it. You know, the weird thing is I've talked to people who have a similar issue as me: irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, GERD, acid reflux disease, any of that metabolic syndrome. I've talked to people who said they've eaten bread from other countries over in Europe, and they said they don't get that at all. They eat that bread there all day long. They could literally eat loaves of Italian bread in Italy, literally loaves every day, and not get one reaction from it. But as soon as he came back to the U.S. and started eating the bread here, they started getting the diarrhea and the burning acid, and it's a horrible feeling. It's really awful. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. My girlfriend, before we broke up, she started getting that. She started getting that. And she used to complain because I'd always bring home these delicious bagels. In New Jersey, we make some of the best bread in the world over there. New Jersey and New York, the Bronx. And when you go to the Bronx, we get the best Bronx bread in the world. You ever go to the Bronx, you buy Bronx bread over there. There ain't nothing better than Bronx bread. In Jersey, we also make the Kaiser rolls. We make good pizza dough. We got some of the best breads over here. But I used to bring that home, and she used to have a bad reaction from that. So she used to get mad at me. I didn't mean it. I didn't tell her to eat it. I bought it for myself. She used to blame me for it. Says, right, I often double check AI's answers. Yeah, you better check them because they're not always right, man. I've almost made a fool of myself a couple of times. You know, I'm like, I'm arguing with somebody online. I'm like, I'm right, you know, and I'm like typing in, I'm AI's telling me this and telling me that. And then I'm getting into an argument with somebody, and it turns out that they were right and AI was wrong. Made me look like an idiot. Yeah, it's funny. Says I buy almost only organic food. Yeah. Now this is the problem with organic food. I don't want to ruin your day. This is the problem with organic food. Organic food is good. They're growing it organically in the fields. It's after it leaves the fields and it goes into the truck and they're delivering it into the supermarket where you can't see anything. They spray it with all kinds of stuff on there. Oh yeah, they do. That organic stuff is still organic, but it's just aftermarket sprays that they put on there so it don't rot on you. Isn't that nice of them to do that to your organic food that you just paid 3 times the price for? But yeah, they do that. There's like, you see where the vegetables are? There's that spray mist that you see come down. That's not water. And if you don't believe me, it's water, but it's not pure water. If you don't believe me, you could get a little capsule of it, put it under there, catch a little bit of that water, close it up, stick it in your pocket, bring it home and send it to a lab, and they'll tell you what's in there. There's crisping agents in there to keep the vegetables and stuff crispy. And it's not necessarily deadly, but dude, I got cancer, for example. I don't want that in my diet, and they're not telling me they're putting that on there to keep it nice and crispy. I didn't ask them to do that. And I'm paying premium price for you're better off just buying the regular stuff. The vegetables in the store are some of the most absolutely toxic things you can freaking buy. And that's what I eat. That's 90% of my food. That's probably why I got irritable bowel syndrome from eating the vegetables from the store. But I can only grow so much vegetables on my property here. I can only grow so much. For me to grow, now this is a fallacy. A lot of people say, oh, you're going to grow your own food. I'm going to live off the land. You have absolutely, I'm looking right at you right now, you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. I've literally tried to do that. For me to grow the amount of food for me to eat with the amount of calories that I need to consume every day for an entire year, I would need about 2.5 acres of land, I estimate. And I would have to have full rows of crops. So you say to yourself, oh, I could do that. I got 5 acres. I'll just till it down. And do you have any idea what it takes to harvest and 1 acre of vegetables? I mean, okay, it's extraordinarily a lot of work. It's very time consuming. I'm not saying it's not fun. I'm not saying I don't do it. I'm just letting you know that it's not a little walk in the park. You have to plant the plant. You have to start the plants. Then you got to plant the plants. Then you have to raise the plants, water them, feed them, pick all the bugs off them, that kind of stuff. Then you got to harvest the plants. Then after you harvest the plants, you have to process them and like get them either ready for long-term storage. Potatoes you might put in like a bucket filled with dirt, or you might want to desiccate them and dehydrate them, desiccate them, or you might want to boil them or can them or whatever. You have to process them. That takes an extraordinarily amount of time and energy and money, because it costs money to do that. And then after you process everything, you have to have a pantry or a place to store this stuff. So now you got to store it. And then after you're done doing all of that, we're talking 1 acre's worth of vegetables here. After you're done doing all of that, now you have to, take out what you need daily, and then you have to divide it up for your food for the day. You have to open things, and then you got to temporarily store them and go through it, and then you got to cook it, and then you got to season it and do your stuff, and then you got to eat it, and then after you're done eating it, you have to do all the dishes, and then once all of that's done, a day later, it comes back out and goes back to nature. That is the cycle of life. If you think you're going to grow enough food for one person on an acre of property in 1 year, it probably could be done, but I'm having trouble myself trying to figure out how you would do that. And an acre of property is almost, here, I'll turn you around. Acre of property is, give you an idea on the size of what an acre is. My property is almost an acre. This is roughly an acre of property. There's not much back here. That's like the fence line there, but this is like an acre of property. Not that. That's just my garden. That's my grow area. But like to give you an idea on a yard size, this is like an acre. Between from here, those trees to those trees, my garden in the middle, and then you got the land that goes up, right? And then there's the house, and there's the land in front. So from like all the way to the front, all the way back to here, and then all the way left that way to all the way right that way, that's about an acre. It looks like a lot, but believe me when I tell you, that is absolutely nothing when you're trying to feed yourself for a year. You have no idea how many more calories you're going to consume if you're just going to consume vegetables. It's stupid almost. You're not going to be able to eat enough vegetables to actually put fat on your bones. You need to put fat on your bones. You can only get so skinny, then it becomes unhealthy, So you need to have some fat in your bones. How do you get fat in your bones? Well, you need to eat protein. So now you can do like I do. I haven't done it in a while, but maybe I'm going to do it again. I'm going to get, I got to find where they sell chickens again here. The Tractor Supply here don't have them. I might order them from the mail. I can get the chicks sent. I built this thing. It was a chicken coop. It wasn't meant to be a chicken coop. This was a building that was on somebody's property that I built, and they didn't pay me. So I went there and I deconstructed the building, took it off their property, brought it up here, rebuilt it, put it right back here because they weren't paying for it. So I rebuilt it with everything with the original shingles. I literally deconstructed their building off their property, deconstructed it. Had me and my friend took every nail, it took the whole thing apart, marked everything put marks on what was where. And I literally came back and I rebuilt this thing exactly what it was. Almost. It was beat up. It's still beat up a little bit, but I was able to rebuild this thing completely. And then I didn't have any use for it because I don't need that. I just didn't want him to get a whole building for free. So I ended up turning it into a chicken coop. And so that I had the whole thing filled with chickens. And then I put this little fence thing around here. And this whole thing was filled with chickens. I was eating so many eggs. I started to almost look like a chicken, dude. I mean, I'm eating like a dozen eggs a day, man. I mean, I was getting all my protein. And then when the chickens, once they kind of stop laying eggs, you can whack them. You know what I mean? You just take the net, you pull the net up on the neck, and then you can pull all the feathers. You let them run around. You know, a lot of times you could cut their head off and they'll bleed out, but that's nasty looking. So I just break the neck and then let them flop around for a while. And then I'll defeather them, and then I degut them, and then I'll cook them. And it's edible. The roosters, I don't like the taste of the roosters, but it's free food, man. It kept me alive for years. I've been eating that stuff for years. And so I haven't had chickens in a while. But what I'm trying to say is, for you to homestead on your property, you think you're going to feed yourself with vegetables for an entire year? That's almost hilarious. You have no idea. You were born and raised out of a box in a grocery store. All of us were. We don't know what it's like to live and forage for a living. Even though I say I do all of this stuff, I still don't even know what that would be like. It's just ridiculous for people to even think that. I mean, if you have a family of 4 or 5 and everybody's kicking in, well, it might be possible then, but not one person, that's for sure. You have no idea. Your entire life will be completely surrounded by just processing the food, preparing it, storing it, and cooking it and eating it. It's like maybe 60% of your full time, and then the other 40% would be the other stuff you need to do. But the food itself, that's going to take up most of your life. Your whole life is going to be governed by food, and it's now there are things like I could do, for example, like things that I do. And so what I do is I seed. I'll go out and I'll seed the land, right? So I don't go into the cornfields, but I'll go out to the edges, or out in here, alongside these farms. This is my neighbor here. She lets me play in her farm, but I go out into the edges like that, and I'll seed it, and I'll plant tomatoes there, some peppers here, and I'll try to get them to like naturalize so I can forage. And I'll take my blackberries, and I plant all these plants around. And so they're around, and I know where they are. And if I ever needed to eat, I created that environment for me to be able to forage if I need to. Because I know it's not going to be physically feasibly possible for me to do what I just described to you by myself. It's not possible. I'm older. I don't have the strength anymore. There's no way I can do it. I have to find another way. And the only way I could ever do it is to forage. The older I get, the weaker I get, right? I mean, so I have to live within my means. So I like to walk around and I eat these plants, right? I eat a lot of these plants. You don't know that, but I'm telling you now that I eat a lot of these plants, the wild ones. That's how I get a lot of my nutrients and my nutrition, by eating, not everything. I don't eat everything. But like, for example, this is a multiflora. This is a sticker bush, right? You see the sticker bush here. Well, in the spring, when these shoots are just coming up, they got like a little violin thing that comes up. You can break that off. You can eat those on this plant. And sometimes I come back and I do. But those are the things that I try to do and eat. Am I perfect? No. I still eat like you guys do. I still have to go to the store and buy some food. So I like to eat beef. I can't. Where am I going to get beef from? Can't get beef anymore. I bought from the store, Walmart, right? So I bought those. They sell those little, I don't know, they're like little fillets of beef. They're not filet mignon, but they look like a filet mignon. It's a little meat piece. It's not a full London broil. It's just like a little piece of meat. It's not chuck steak or any of that. It's just these 4 little things they put in the package. You probably know what I'm talking about. I like those. They're nice. I could eat 1 or 2 of those. I put them on a grill. I make a corn on the cob. I'll take a big old fat portobello mushroom, and I put that on there, and I put my olive oil on there, and my apple cider vinegar. I put a little salt and pepper. I eat that. And right, so I eat a little steak with that, and I mix that up nice. But those steaks, you know what I'm paying for those steaks? I mean, I paid $20 for that. I used to pay, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, I used to pay, I don't know, $3.50, $4 for it. Now I'm paying almost 20 for it. I can't afford to. I mean, I'm getting to a point where I'm going to have to go back to chickens and start eating the chickens. I'm not a big chicken guy, you know. I'm a beef guy. I like beef, a little bit of pork. I like pork. Chicken's okay. It's just, I don't know. It's like a light meat. When I eat steak, oh, I'm good for a day. I eat a nice big steak. I could do without food for like 8 hours, you know. And the good thing for me with irritable bowel syndrome, the good thing for me is it slows down my digestive tract. So if I eat a lot of carbohydrates, I can eat it and like maybe 10 minutes later, I got to go to the bathroom, literally. If I eat meats and fibery foods like that, it slows that down and I don't get that reaction. And then eventually, you know, the swelling goes down, you know, that kind of a thing. All my interstitial fluids, I start draining that out. So when you got irritable bowel syndrome, you have a bag around your guts. And what happens when you bloat, that water's bloating somewhere, and you never knew where that water was bloating. What it's doing is that bag that's holding your guts in there is filling up with water. That's called interstitial fluid. That's what that water is. And so your belly starts to swell up like a big swollen dead possum, and you just start to swell up like that. That's because you're filling up with water. And eventually it just gets to a point where you pop. No, it just fills up a lot. And eventually, once you stop eating whatever caused that inflammation problem, it drains out. And so you go to the bathroom a lot. That's what I deal with. Yeah, I've had that for a while, but now it's getting worse. Right off, almost done. I said hi. Oh, hey, what's up there, Raykib? What's happening? Homegrown is the best. Yeah, that's what I do. You can't beat it. I get tomatoes from the store. Even now, I bought like some tomatoes because my tomatoes ain't quite ready yet. I mean, I got tomatoes coming in, but I'm saving them for seed, so I can't like eat fresh tomatoes. I got to take whatever's left, if there is anything left, and then cook it like a sort. I'm looking for like eating fresh tomatoes, so I still buy a couple from the store, and they're just it's like eating chalk with the flavor of tomato on it. It's just gross to me. I don't know, man. Are you guys like, I don't know about you, but when you go into the store and you're buying your vegetables from the store, are you like getting like weird texture issues these days, like with your vegetables? Or is that just me? I'm just coming with age. I'm due. I mean, are you getting texture issues? Like I cut my tomatoes open, like I'll buy a tomato from the store, you know, on the vine tomato or something like that, and I cut it in half. And I open it up, and the liquid inside, like when I grow my tomatoes, the liquid's watery and it drips. And this is like slimy, like the consistency of spit. That's what it's like. And I got to eat this thing, and it's like I'm eating it. It's like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm just getting like grossed out. It's just like genetically mixed with some kind of salmon or something. It's like, oh man, this is disgusting. So I don't know. Is it me, or is you guys experiencing that, or what? It's getting hard for me to eat food from the store. I'm to a point where it's like the only thing I could buy that's not going to gross me out is like the lettuce. And the broccoli's pretty good. The lettuce, the cauliflowers are good. The carrots are pretty good too. But certain foods, like the tomatoes, they're disgusting, dude. They're really, really gross, man. I'm getting like grossed out even thinking about them. And I've been eating them. And believe me, if the tomatoes were like $10 for like a decent tomato, I'll pay the 10 for it. I want something decent, right? I can't even get that. It's like I paid the 10 for it, and it's like I'm spitting it out. You know what I mean? Says, why would they only spray the organic stuff? If so, oh no, it's not that they only spray the organic stuff. It's just once that stuff comes off the farm, it gets thrown into these big boxes, and it gets shipped onto a tractor trailer and shipped out immediately, right from the farm. Goes from the farm to the grocery store. That's what they call. There's a name for that. Farm to store or something they call that. It's that technology. In that process of doing that, there's several things that they do. These trucks got it's got a system in it that sprays a gas out. They release some kind of a nitrous oxide gas or something, I don't know, and it force ripens watermelons, and it force ripens it does all this nasty stuff, force ripens everything. And then after it does all that force ripening, you eat it. You know, but that's one thing they do, is they spray it with this gas, and that force ripens, and this gas gets into the food. That's also not good. But then once the food hits the store and it's on the shelf, that stuff that comes down, they spray that on there. They spray, and in that stuff, that liquid that they're spraying on your vegetables, it's got all kinds of stuff in it. I don't even know all the ingredients. There's stuff in it. It's not just water misting on your vegetables, making it look, nice and moist so they don't get, dried out. It's more than that. They're adding stuff to it, antifungal and all kinds of stuff. And we're eating that. And that's going all over your organic food and everything. And they're not even telling you a word about it. That's what I'm trying to warn you about. You can buy the organic food, but you still need to wash it. You can do that. It's better than the non-organic, but unless you're like me, a lot of times, like this time of the year, you'll see like the cornfields, right? So these people, what they do is they'll a lot of people around here, they grow their vegetables and they put a stand out. I did that for a little while here. I had a stand, but the honor system didn't work out because there's some people are just not honest and they take your money and stuff. So I stopped doing that. But what they like to do is set up a little table and they set up an honor system and they put the bucks in there and I'll buy your vegetables for you. So I go around sometimes to other people's farms and I drive around. I look for people's tables and stuff and I buy stuff from different people around the area because I knew they grew it out of their garden. And I don't know if it's exactly always good, but I'm always looking for something new, like an heirloom of some kind. And out here where I live, there's a lot of Amish and Mennonites. This is all Amish and Mennonite country out here. So there's a lot of high quality food if you know how to drive around and where to look. You're not going to just anybody's old backyard garden. You're going to, the Amish are very, very orthodox organic people. They don't use any of that chemicals in any way. They don't use anything. They just literally, they will make their own pesticides and stuff. And they're highly effective. They're highly skilled at it, and their food is the best. You're going to pay a premium for that, though. The Amish vegetables that you get out here, you pay a premium. Especially, there's a couple of Amish farms up here with the apples. Next time I go to the apple farm up here, because I go into the country and I buy the apples by the bags. So next time I do that, I'll bring you guys with me and I'll show you around to the some of the farms and some of the apples I get. They're really good apples. They don't spray the apples with there's a spray that they got to spray on the apples because there's a certain moth that eats a hole in the apple and it makes a little worm go in there. Very annoying. A lot of people, took their apple farm trees down because of these little buggers. But they don't do that. They have other ways of keep mitigating the problem with this fly that eats holes in the apples, and it's highly effective. And again, it's clean food. You can eat it. You can eat these apples with the skin, and that is what I like. I love the skins on apples. They clean your teeth. They clean your throat, your guts. When you swallow when you eat apples with the skins, that roughage from the skin is like eating sandpaper, and it scrubs your guts. And you want to scrub your guts. You want to clean those because your guts get plaque on it from food. It sticks to the walls of your guts. It doesn't come off right away. I know that for a fact because I had hydrocolon therapy one time, and that's where they insert a tube inside your rectum and they fill your intestine up and they wash your guts out. They fill it up till the point where the water's going into your small intestine. And it's going up until you can't hold it anymore, and then there's a reverse valve and they let it all out. And it pulls all that stuff out. And while they're doing it, they're massaging your gut and everything. And you'd be amazed, even after fasting for a day, and they did that, and my gut was generally empty. Stuff was coming out. So yeah, does stuff get left behind in your gut? Yes. And that's why you have to eat your vegetables and your fibers. And I like apples because they got that rough skin, and that skin is like sandpaper. Very good for you if you can get clean apples. Actually, I have apple trees and pear trees that are growing up on the top of my property up there that I'll show you in spring. This pear tree produces so many pears it can fill up the back of a. Nowadays, when it didn't do that in the beginning, but nowadays it makes so many pears it can fill up the back of a pickup truck with it. That's how many pears come out of this thing. It's so many, it's ridiculous. I try to give them to the neighbors. They're making tons and tons of pear pie. Says, oh, I see. Thanks for the info. Let's hear grainy texture from flesh. Grainy texture from flesh. Some of the fruit from the supermarket. from the flesh. All right, so when you say grainy texture, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're talking about tomatoes grainy. I can't stand it. I don't like that in a tomato, and I don't really care for that in an apple when it's grainy like that, and it's kind of getting on the soft side. I like my apples crisp, and they snap when you bite into them. That's what I like, and juicy. But I don't like, I think I know what you're talking about when you say grainy, and I get that with tomatoes a lot, and I don't like grainy tomatoes. They're okay in a sauce, but eating them raw, ugh. In which state do you live? I live in Pennsylvania. This is the Appalachian Mountains right there. You can see all that fog in the background. That's all probably forest fire smog, or it could just be humidity, you know, because you'll see that humidity. But that's the Appalachian Mountains. I live up in the mountains in Pennsylvania, northeastern Pennsylvania. It's a beautiful country up here. I really, really, really like it here. The only thing I don't really like about this particular spot is it's on a hill. I never want to own property on a hill again. And I don't like being 1,000 feet above sea level with the types of plants that I grow. I don't like it. I don't care for it. If I'm going to continue to grow peppers and tomatoes, I need to be at a lower elevation, and I need to be more on flat ground. I would do much, much better. Because of my environment, I'm a little bit, the zoning here too isn't the best. So the zoning here is a zone 6, I think it's 6B. So it would be a 6B, then 6A, then 7B, then 7A, goes like that. I'm like a 6B, which is not the best. I don't have long seasons. I only get 3 months, and that's it. 4 if I'm lucky to grow outdoors. Pretty much everything's got to be grown indoors. And it's tough. It's tough to grow these plants up here, but I'm getting to a point where I'm going to reacquire a new piece of property, and the whole game plan is going to change. It's going to become something spectacular. So we'll see. It's coming in the near future, hopefully, and we'll be able to expand out and open the operation up a little bit better, and give you a much better selection. And I'm also, too, in the future, just so you guys know, I'm going to be getting into more breeding. I'm going to be doing a lot more, you know, breeding with peppers and tomatoes. I'm going to start creating my own varieties and fooling around with that, because I do like to do that. It's really fun for me. I like to see the different varieties that come out. But that's a future thing. And I may not offer seeds in the future, too, just so you know. Just the seeds for my own plants. And I'll offer that like on a limited basis. So I'll offer it for a year or two, and then I'm done. I move on to a new variety. I'll just create a new creation. I'm not going to maintain that. It's going to be up to you guys. If you like that variety, it'll be up to you to maintain it. And for me, I'm just going to keep creating a new variety every, couple of years or something like that. And I'll cycle through it. I really like to do that. It's really, for me to try to maintain 2,000 of varieties of vegetables, tomatoes and peppers that I got, it's impossible. I wanted to do the seed library thing, but I can't keep up with it. It's to a point now where I just don't have enough land to do that. And what happens is that, as the seed gets older, I have to cycle through each variety. And as I do that, sometimes I'm not successful and the variety vanishes. And so as a result of that, I can't replace it. I can't even buy the seed anymore. So I would be able to maintain it if all the other things were met. Lower elevation, higher zone, maybe a 7A, maybe a 7B, 8A, somewhere in that range, the Goldilocks zone. If I was in those environments, I can build an atrium. I can heat the atrium for the winters and keep the plants growing indefinitely, like in perpetuity. And I'd be able to maintain a variety for many, many years. And so, yeah, I could act as a seed library, but I can't do it in this environment. There's no way. And I really have a passion to do that too, So, anyways, it's been real. It's been fun. I'm trying to think, is there anything I want to show you? With the deer. So you want to know about the deer? I'll turn you around real quick. I'll show you my fencing that I use for my deer. So you see, like, I put all this fencing here. It's like the same kind of fencing, right, that I use in my garden, but I wrap my entire acre of property with that all the way around, right? All the way around. And then I put all these arborvitaes as a hedge all the way up on both sides. And then I wrapped it with this fencing all the way around. And that's the only way. You have no idea how much problems I had with deer. No idea. unbelievable amounts of problems. But as you see, as I go here, you see how the fence goes all the way up? It's to keep the deer out of here. But even the deer, they run into this fence, they're destroying it. I can't even maintain it anymore. But the fence goes all the way up. It's like 10 to 15 feet high over here. And to keep them out, because they'll just walk right in the back. So I have, man, the amount of trouble I went through to keep the deer out of here, so bad. They did so much damage to my property, not just the garden, but they ate all my trees up. You see, like over here, you see these trees? They're small because the deer did that. What the deer do is they chew into that, and they eat the trees down so low that they created a path, and they jump over that little piece of fence, right? But you know what keeps them from doing that, believe it or not, is I use this stuff here. It's a netting. You can't see it, but as soon as the deer touches it with his nose, he feels that, he won't jump the fence. So now I kind of stopped them from doing the damage because they were still coming in here. The other side I just showed you, I put up 15 feet worth of fence. They run into it, they're knocking it down, but they're not getting in. And that's the whole trick. Keep these sons of bitches out of here. And so I still have this problem because I have no way to build up 15 feet worth of fence. So what I do is I put this here. This was suggested to me by another neighbor. And this actually does work. Right now it kind of fell down right now, so I got to fix that when I get a chance. Usually that's strung up. And so all you have to do is take this real thin netting and string that up. As soon as the deer touches that with his nose, he won't go in the yard. The problem is when the deer starts galloping because he got scared or spooked and he comes running this way, he thinks he's going to run right into my yard. He hits that fence, he's going to take it right down. He's going to hit down to the ground. He's going to get wrapped up into this stuff. Then he's going to panic, and he's going to go stumbling all over the place, breaking everything and knocking everything down in sight until he could get that stuff off him. And this stuff is pretty strong. It doesn't rip very easily. And when that happens, if I catch it, I have to put it down, which is good for me because he goes right in the freezer. That's how that works. Goes right in the freezer. But that doesn't happen very often. But when it does happen, it's a meal time for me. We don't waste nothing around here. Here, look. It's this stuff right here. You could just take that stuff and literally just wrap it. Like I put the metal part down below, and then I could just go up another 5-6 feet and just kind of go across the trees with it. The problem is that they come galloping, and when they're panicking and they're running, they hit that, they're going to rip the whole thing to the ground. But it does keep them out if they're just sniffing around, like looking to eat your trees. Like, for example, you look at my trees on the neighbor's side of the yard, you can't really tell, but you see how they're all chewed off on their side? On my side, you see how my trees got all the foliage on there? All my trees are all good there. But then if you look at the neighbor's side, it's all bald. That's because the deer go in there and they eat the arborvitaes right down to the stump. Those things will literally go in there. Now, not only eat the arborvitaes, but they take their horns, right? They get this velvet on their horns, so they want to get the velvet off their horns, and they start rubbing their horns on a tree. They'll debark this entire tree and kill this entire tree. That's one of the reasons why there's a metal fence here. There's this stuff, but if you look here, you see how I have that metal fence tacked up right against the tree? That's, if I don't do that, when they come in here to come get the velvet off their tree, instead of going to like a tree and doing it there, they come over here because it's a nice small branch, and they get the velvet off their tree. They strip all this bark off. They kill a tree. These trees, they killed so many trees in the back here. I had trees all over here. These are barely alive because of all the damage from the deer. It's very hard to deal with deer. Very, 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 very hard. I had a lot of people ask me, how do you keep deer off your property? This is part of the story. It's a long story too. Phone, it's like that's the end of the stream. But yeah, that's really about it. I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. The main thing about this, what I wanted to get through to you guys, is the soil and what I do with the soils, my old soils, and And the soils, when you put that in, when you put organic material back into the ground, you're going to end up with that kind of consistency. That took many, many years to build that. So don't give up. Just give it time. Build it. It takes years. But at some point, that garden will take a life of its own on. And it's like effortless for me. I just I could throw plants in the ground and walk away, like come back in 3 months and I'll have like 3 foot tall. I don't even have to do it. I don't water my plants. I only water them on really dry, super hot days. I'll go around, I'll give them a little water. I don't have to do that, but I don't have to do anything. I can just plant it, get out of here. I can just plant them, walk away, and come back in 3 months, and they'll be loaded with peppers and tomatoes. And that's because of that soil. And it took a long time to do that. So, you know, that's my advice to you if you're going to start your own soil in the ground like that. A longer season. Hey, thanks for hanging with me there, Felicia? Whatever your name. I call you Fel. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. I like your questions. They're good questions. Thought invoking. Says a longer season, yes, sounds great. But then you would probably have to deal with the heat in the summer. Well, I mean, yeah, that's a trade-off. That's a good point. The thing is I'm a farmer, right? So I'm always looking for the mechanical advantage. And the mechanical advantage in farming would be the climate conditions I suggested to you. And yes, it would be hot. It would be those more uncomfortable things. But my results would be, I would be able to grow with less effort. As a result of that, less effort means less cost. And ultimately, in the end, I'll end up with the same product with less cost. And that saves me money. And in the world that we live in today, cost is almost everything nowadays, especially. And so I always lean towards that direction first, and that's why. But you're right, though. I mean, it's more work. But, hey, if I get good results, I'm going to do it. I would like to do what I originally planned to do and what I've been wanting to do for years. I'm not sure how to go about doing it, but what I'd like to do before I die, one of the things I'd like to do is I'd like to donate all the plants I got. I got some really rare plants, pepper varieties, even tomato varieties, and I'd like to donate them or build like an atrium, a large, I don't know, we get like 3 acres, center it out, flatten it, clear out the land, flatten it out, put like a rotunda in the middle of it made out of glass, and make it so it's ever heated, like it's always warm and heated and climate controlled. It would be a greenhouse with climate control, basically. And just grow these plants in perpetuity. In other words, they never die. Just plant them in there and let them grow forever, and they'll be able to produce seed and fruit for eternity. And they'll never go away. They'll never die, or hopefully they don't. And I'd like to take that property and turn it into a foundation and give that back to the public. And, you know, I leave something behind before I go. That's something I always dreamed about doing. It's just, and now with the hospital bills, the $500,000, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to do that. But that has always been a dream of mine, to be able to do that and have that built and then put my plants in there and donate it and then open it to the general public as a not-for-profit or non-profit, and just let the world have that for generations upon generations. And other people could always add to it and things like that, you know, long after I'm gone, you know. But I don't know if that's going to happen these days. It's always been a dream of mine to do that, but health conditions prevail, and who knows what's coming next. What do I got? Yellow in my ear? Look at that. You see that? What is that? Looks like it's yellow. It's weird. Anyway, guys, I love all of you. And you know, I'll still make videos. I'll still be putting out videos. I do take breaks from time to time. You know, with my health issues now, I will take breaks. But I'm still around, and I will still put up videos and keep you entertained if I can. What I would like to do is like take you into some of the woods at certain times of the year when I do foraging, right? So that would be fun. The problem is I can't live stream it. I like to live stream things. And I have to record that. That means I got to edit it. And I'm so sick of editing, man, you know. If I could live stream it, I'd love to take you with me and stream it right out and do some foraging and eat some of the plants with you and show you some of the bad ones not to eat, you know. That way you know. Says, listen so much, don't comment. Excellent live, glad I caught it. Have a great day, John. Always much love from Indiana River County. Thank you. You're a sweetheart. And or is that a female or a male? Oh, you're a gentleman at heart. I didn't know if you were female or not. I can't see you. And I appreciate the nice comment. That is absolutely nice of you. And welcome to Pennsylvania from Florida. So, but anyways, guys, it is getting a little bit on the humid side. I'm going to spin you around. I'm going to show you that. Last of the Mohicans up there. I'm sure there's a lot of battles that have been fought on top of those hills throughout all the years of that being there. And that is the Appalachian Mountains right up in there. That's part of it. I'm actually in it. This is the Appalachians, but that's like a peak. There's also a pyramid here. I'll show you a quick pyramid, and I'm going to end the stream. I don't know if you could see the pyramid here this time of year. You can't see the pyramid here. Like out in the background here, there's too many trees here. There's a pyramid mountain here. It's shaped like a perfect pyramid. I'm almost under the impression that it doesn't look natural. It looks like a pyramid. It looks like it was like man-made of some sort. So there's a pyramid back here. During the winter time when it gets, you know, all empty, I'll come back. I'll film that for you. I always looked at that. I did go up there one time. It looks like any other mountain, but from here and you look at the distance and I show you different angles of it from different parts of the road, it looks like a pyramid, like literally a pyramid. Perfect angles on it. So maybe I'll do a video in the future. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you all tuning in and hanging out with me and listening to me. And hopefully I shared something with you that was beneficial with the soil. And if you have any questions with the soil, just comment below. I will answer you back the best I can. And that's it, guys. I really appreciate you being there. And you guys have a great day. And I'll see you on the next one. Be good.